So most people think the Chiefs are going to end up losing to the Baltimore Ravens, but what if I told you it's not that simple? For starters, there's a surprising advantage Kansas City might have based on a few things that I'll dive into in today's video. There's key injuries Baltimore's dealing with, including one to a very important offensive player, but then the Chiefs are getting an absolute weapon back on offense to help them go up against a struggling Baltimore defense. So I'll break all that down and so much more. But first, how about those? Look, I know it's only week 4, but this is basically a playoff game. You do not want to lose this game. You've got Patrick Mahomes going up against Lamar Jackson, obviously not directly, but head-to-head, it's 1-5 for Lamar Jackson in 6 meetings. The Chiefs normally get the better of the Ravens. The last time these two teams played, it was that very close week 1 game where tight end Isaiah Likely's toe stepped out of bounds barely in the back of the end zone, and the Chiefs ended up getting away with the W here. There's a lot of people predicting the Chiefs to lose this game, or the inverse here, the Ravens to win in a close one. It could go a few different directions here, but I think the Chiefs have a legitimate chance to win this game, and I'll kind of break down both sides of the ball and why I think this is a legit possibility. These guys are very similar through 3 weeks of football, but kind of the inverse in how they are looked at by the media. The Ravens lost 2 close games to very good teams. So you lost a close one to the Buffalo Bills, who came back from behind to win that game. And then you lost another close one, sort of close one, but that was against the Detroit Lions. Meanwhile, the Chiefs lost a close one to the Chargers, and then a close one to the Eagles. They both beat a team that they should beat. The Ravens beat the Browns by a lot, and then the Chiefs beat the Giants by enough, not a ton, but they got the W after a very ugly first half. However, the media kind of talks about these teams differently. The Chiefs are doing a little bit better on the defensive side of the ball because we all know on offense, you don't have wide receiver 1, you don't have wide receiver 2 and Worthy, but it looks like Xavier Worthy is going to play in this game, but then you also don't really have a run game. So the offense has struggled for sure, but the defense outside of week 1, they kind of got it together, and they've really held it down. Meanwhile, the Ravens are very high-powered on offense. They're averaging like 37 points a game, absolutely going nuclear over there. Their one problem, they don't have their fullback. I think it's affected their run game. He's been injured with a calf, and he's not going to play in this game either. But then you have Derrick Henry fumbling. He's fumbled each game 1 time and has lost the fumble in all 3 games. Very uncharacteristic mistakes there by one of the better or best running backs in the entire NFL. But because the Ravens have the high-powered offense, you've got the media saying, oh, the Ravens are for sure the better team. We don't even know how they're 1-2. The defense is letting them down. Sometimes they're saying that, but when you look at the Chiefs, they're just sitting there saying, oh yeah, they're 1-2, didn't even deserve the win against the Giants. It's like 2 different tales here, but it's because the Ravens look excellent on offense, but their defense is awful. More middle of the pack on offense for the Chiefs right now, even though EPA per play, they're top 10. But yeah, when you have a high-powered offense, because it is an offensive league, the media is going to speak a little bit more highly about you. I understand the Chiefs are frustrating on offense, right? We all have been frustrated by the Chiefs on offense, gutting out these yards, least explosive room in the NFL, at least in the backfield. That's been a big problem. This year, there has been an emphasis to push the ball down the field. Tyquan Thornton has been a definite bright spot, okay? You're going to have to come into this game against the Ravens. It's at Arrowhead, midday slot. Chiefs are underdogs by 2.5 points. Again, a lot of people are predicting the Ravens to win. If you want to win, you look at the Chiefs offense and what you have to do. Let's just start with Jawan Taylor. He is a talented pass protector. We all know that, right? But they have an officiating crew. It's Clay Martin. And I want you to listen to this stat real quick. His crew, they are calling an above average 40% of their penalties on false starts and offensive holding so far in 2025. Meanwhile, the Ravens are the only team to not have an accepted offensive holding penalty in 2025. Then it gets even more interesting. The Chiefs and Ravens have both committed a disproportionately high percentage of their overall penalties on 3rd down, and Clay Martin's crew is calling a very high, uncharacteristically high is what the verbiage is, 39% of their overall penalties on 3rd down. So a couple key things to watch, even though I'm not a big watch the refs guy, you need to watch for false starts and offensive holding on the Chiefs O-line. Josh Simmons got flagged for one last week. Then obviously Jawan Taylor got flagged for illegal formation. But if anybody, any officiating crew is going to call Jawan Taylor on a false start, it's going to be this crew in this game. And then you need to watch for the flags on third downs. You got to play a clean game if you want to beat a team as good as the Baltimore Ravens. Now, I mentioned it earlier, but Xavier Worthy is trending to play in this game. I'm just glancing at the injury report. I'll refer to it kind of off and on all video, but for the first time since injuring his shoulder, Xavier Worthy is slated to play in this game. He was a full participant Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Honestly, I have no idea what to expect from Xavier Worthy, but it's going to help this offense, that's for sure. You got the speedy Worthy running around. Tyquan Thornton is going to help. They are going to help complement each other and maybe help open each other up. Now, again, the Ravens are really struggling on defense. Pass defense, run defense. They have a couple key injuries on the D-line right now. Their starting defensive tackle, their nose tackle, Travis Jones, is questionable with a knee injury. Then Nnamdi Madubuike, one of their best defensive tackles on the team, is not playing with a neck injury. He's already been ruled out. And then Kyle Van Noy, their outside linebacker, he was DNP, so he didn't participate Wednesday, Thursday, limited Friday, and is questionable to play. If Kyle Van Noy can't go, and they might try to get him to go, hamstring injuries scare me, especially when you were a DNP on Wednesday, Thursday. They can re-aggravate very easily. But if these guys can't go, there is a reason why the Lions did whatever they wanted on the ground. 220 or so yards and 4 rushing touchdowns. They have Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. Okay. Meanwhile, the Chiefs have, we know who they have. Okay. Pacheco, Kareem Hunt. Maybe Brashard Smith can get a little bit more looks in this one. I think the Chiefs are going to have to double down and run the football, especially if Madubuike, he's out, and Kyle Van Noy don't play in this game. You've got to run the ball on this team, take some deep shots downfield to Thornton, Worthy, and that's going to help open up everybody else. Juju, look for him in the middle of the field. He's had a couple games with 50 receiving yards. You love to see that. Travis Kelce, he has been playing well. He's been scrutinized because of a couple drops and miscues. Some of that is on Mahomes too, but the drop in the end zone obviously was not. That would have been a touchdown. But again, he's still playing well, looking good out there, running around, moving nicely. The offense just shouldn't have to funnel through him. So I don't have a lot of expectations for Worthy. I'm going to be cautiously optimistic. Jalen Royals is good to play in this game too, but he was good last week and played literally 0 snaps. But you've got to run the ball against this Ravens defense. It's worth talking about real quick Nate Wiggins. I mean, they have a lot of good guys talking about the Ravens in the secondary. Nate Wiggins, Kyle Hamilton, he's one of the best safeties in the league. Their first-round rookie, Malachi Starks, Marlon Humphrey, their nickelback. You've got a lot of great guys there, but if you think Thornton and Worthy are fast, Nate Wiggins is about just as fast. He runs a 4.28 40. So you will have speed on speed, and they might very well put Wiggins on Tyquan Thornton. It's just something to keep an eye on, a very key matchup to watch in this one. If the Chiefs want to win, you have to score multiple touchdowns. And Harrison Butker has to make his field goals, and he has to make his extra points. And from here, I want to switch to the opposite side of the football here because, again, while the Ravens defense is suspect, 31st, 30th, 32nd in the league, and a lot of metrics, points allowed, yards allowed, almost all of it, and the Chiefs offense are going to have to be on. Their offense is another thing entirely. So let's get into that next. But first, the NFL is officially back. Let's freaking go. The MLB playoffs are also right around the corner, and even the NBA is not too far behind. Well, that's why you need to get yourself some tickets sooner rather than later, and is exactly where the sponsor of today's video, SeatGeek, comes right in. They are the #1 rated ticketing app for a reason, boasting over 28 million downloads with more than 70,000 events listed on their site and app. And speaking of their app, I really do prefer using it because it is that easy to navigate. And on top of all the sporting events going on, you can't forget about concerts, comedians, and festivals. Basically, you name it, there is a very good chance there are tickets on SeatGeek. They make the process super easy for you as well, rating tickets on a scale of 1 to 10 so you know you're getting a good deal. Just look for the green dots. Green means good, Red means bad. On top of that, every ticket is backed by their buyer guarantee, and you know I had to come through for you guys. You can use code HBTC10 for 10% off your next set of tickets on SeatGeek. That's 10% off any tickets with promo code HBTC10. Make sure you click the link in the description to download the app and have the code automatically added to your account so you can use it later. Thanks again, SeatGeek. All right, with the Chiefs defense, a couple key things to watch is everybody on their injury report that's either listed as doubtful or questionable, they're all on the defensive side of the ball, okay? So you have Mike Dana, he's doubtful to play. This is very interesting. He had a quad injury, limited Wednesday, upgraded to full on Thursday, but then limited again on Friday. When you're listed as doubtful and you go from full to limited, that really means you didn't respond well, so I don't think Mike Dana plays. Well, that's very noteworthy because look who's questionable on the Chiefs injury report. Defensive end Ashton Gillotte, elbow illness. I think he's going to play. It's not the elbow. He was a full go Wednesday, Thursday, but he did not participate today because of an illness. So how sick is he? Is it the flu? What is it? That's a big question here, but I'm bringing that up because if Ashton Gillotte can't play, and then you also have Mike Dana, who is probably not playing in this game. You have FAU on IR. That defensive end room got very thin. You're going to need a lot from Charles Omenihu, and then George Karlaftis is coming off a good game there against the Giants. Chris Jones is going to have to do his thing along the interior as well. So watch out for that, and it might be a little bit of a wash, and this is what I mean by that. I don't like injuries at all, okay, but I was potentially encouraged to see the Ravens starting left tackle, Ronnie Stanley, being listed as questionable to play in this game. He's dealing with an ankle injury. He's day-to-day per Harbaugh. That's what he said this week at his presser. But he's dealing with an ankle injury. Didn't practice Wednesday. Didn't practice Thursday. Limited today. Listed as questionable. If he can't go, that's your starting left tackle. And Lamar Jackson is coming off of a game against the Lions. Their pass rush is on a whole different level. Okay, but he was sacked 7 times, a career high, tied for a career high 7 times against the Lions. Okay, so if you don't have Ronnie Stanley, you've got to try to attack that left side because, again, if Stanley can't go, it's Joseph Noteboom, the former Ram, who is going to be stepping in, and that is a few steps down the talent scale, okay? He is not even close, in my opinion, to what Ronnie Stanley is. Now, that's why I say it might be a little bit of a wash because the Chiefs are banged up in the defensive end room. So if Ronnie Stanley can't go, maybe we're not going to get as much pressure as we would think on Lamar Jackson anyway. The thing about Lamar Jackson is he's such a dual threat. You kind of have to approach how you go after him differently. You can't lose contain. You have to try your best not to let this man burn you on his feet. Okay, they have several receiving weapons as well. Mark Andrews is coming off of an incredible game. He had like 90-ish yards, a couple touchdowns. They might have their tight end too, Isaiah Likely, in this game. This week, he was limited, then full today. And he had foot surgery in August, but is trending towards being able to play. Harbaugh said, well, we'll see. This is really his first week of practice, but this man knows the offense through and through, and if the Ravens want to do any kind of wrinkle or take their offense to an even higher level, even though they're already the number 1 scoring offense without Likely, that's going to create even more of a mismatch at times with the Chiefs and their secondary. With Fulton probably not playing, he's listed as questionable. Look to see more from the rookie Noel Williams. He's the 2nd highest graded cornerback in the NFL right now. Small sample size, so don't read too much into that, but it is encouraging to see that with the limited reps he's been given, he has been standing out and making the most of his opportunities, and that has allowed Trent McDuffie to kick into the slot a little bit more week 2, and then even more than that, week 3. And that's worth noting because the Ravens are a run-first team. Yes, you have Derrick Henry. You have to watch the explosives with him. He's fumbled 3 games in a row. That's a problem. The Chiefs are going to try to make it a 4th. Would love that. You need any turnover advantage you can get against this team, but they have a lot of options in the pass game. I've already mentioned the tight end room, Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, a great tight end duo if Likely plays, but they also have Zay Flowers. That's their wide receiver 1. DeAndre Hopkins making a couple catches a game for them. Very impressive. We know and are familiar with him, of course, but then Rashad Bateman had quite a game last week as well. They have Justice Hill catching passes out of the backfield too. He's a dual threat guy. And you cannot sleep on this offense. So Spags is going to have to come out there, with a great game plan, and they are really going to have to execute on that side of the ball if you want to be able to stay in this game. It's a tale of both sides. Yes, the Chiefs offense needs to execute at a higher level. You probably need to put up about 27 points in this game if you want to win. But the defense really needs to limit this high-powered Ravens offense and get them under 30, probably for the first time this season if you want a chance in this game. A lot of people are predicting the Ravens to win. I think the Chiefs legitimately have a chance and have a shot. They have home field advantage. Lamar Jackson's never won at Arrowhead. He's only beat the Chiefs one time in history since he became a starter. And again, that was due to an end-game fumble by Clyde Edwards-Helaire when the Chiefs were down by one and in field goal range. That allowed the Ravens to close out the game. Different team, different times. The Ravens are favored for a reason. They're a very good team. But here's the deal. If you lose this game, 13% of teams that started the season 1-3 have made the playoffs. Very important game for the Kansas City Chiefs, especially when you take into consideration the Chargers are 3-0 right now. And if they go to 4-0 this weekend, they are already 3-0 in the AFC West because they've literally beaten the Chiefs, the Raiders, and the Broncos. You cannot afford to go to 1-3 if you're the Chiefs and have the Chargers go to 4-0 if you want a chance at winning the division. I don't think that's the most important thing right now, and that's not why the Chiefs are like, oh, we have to win this game against the Ravens if we want to win the division. No, it's because if you go 1-3, you have a 13% chance in history, if you look at all the teams that started 1-3, to make the playoffs. To be clear, I think both of these teams are going to be in the playoffs, but it would sure as hell help the Chiefs if they win this game. You're down some key pieces. At least with Rice suspended, you don't have much of a run game. Worthy is going to be playing. He's going to have a harness. Don't know what to expect from him. But Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, this is insane to say. Heading into a Week 4 game, need to treat this like a playoff game. Dust off everything in the playbook. Do what you need to do to win this game. It's not a division rival or anything, but it is an AFC team. It is pretty important in my opinion, and you have to at least get to 500. 3-3 to kind of survive while Rice is out. He can return Week 7 against the Raiders. The schedule gets a little bit easier in the back half, and then 5 of your 6 AFC West games are in the back half of the season when you have Rashee Rice. It should get, quote-unquote, a little bit easier from here. Don't sleepwalk past the Ravens. They got a little bit demoralized by the Lions on Monday Night Football. The Chiefs do have a bit of a rest advantage here, but they're going to come into Arrowhead looking at this game the same way. Borderline playoff type of a game, because if you don't win, there are some question marks and things are only going to get more difficult from here. I don't have an official score prediction. I just think the Chiefs can win. They need to get to 30. I said that 2 weeks ago against the Eagles too. If you want to win a game against a team that's very high powered on offense, I really do think you need to get to about 30. If you can get to 27, great, but that means Spags and that defense are going to have to coach out of their minds. They've done a good job in the past against Lamar Jackson, present a couple wrinkles. The secondary has to ball out. We need excellent coverage from our linebackers, stopping the run, stuffing the run, very disciplined football. Watch out for that officiating crew, and then operate at a very high level on special teams. Please, for the love of God, Butker cannot miss extra points. He cannot miss field goals. If he does, I'm going to be concerned, much more concerned about him this season because he's almost missed 5 through 3 games. But that's kind of where we're at. I am taking the Chiefs to win this game. They need to score around 30, and the defense has to coach out of their minds. But let me know your thoughts on this game in the comments down below. Where's your concern level? What is your confidence level on a scale of 1 to 10 that you think the Chiefs can pull off this W? And until next time, let's go. Let's freaking go. How about those?